There comes a point in every life when running away no longer works. You can change cities, relationships, or jobs, but the same shadow follows you wherever you go, yourself. The fear, the confusion, the doubts. You may bury them for a while, but they will rise again. True freedom begins not when you escape, but when you finally turn inward and face what you have been avoiding. You may run to the farthest corners of the earth, hoping distance will silence the noise within. You may change the scenery, surround yourself with new faces, chase after new experiences, but sooner or later the same questions will rise again. Wherever you go, your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns follow you like a shadow. You cannot escape them, for they are not outside of you. They are part of you. For a time, escape feels comforting. The distraction of novelty can numb the ache you carry. A new place, a new pursuit, a new relationship may give the illusion of change. But when the excitement fades, when silence creeps in, what you have been avoiding reappears. The mind does not forget simply because you turn your back. It waits patiently for your attention. Peace does not come from movement. It comes from stillness. When you run outward, you multiply confusion. When you turn inward, you find clarity. Life is not asking you to keep running. It is asking you to stop and listen. The answers you seek are not scattered somewhere in the world. They are buried within you, waiting to be uncovered. This realization can feel uncomfortable, even frightening, because it demands responsibility. It is easier to blame circumstances, to imagine that happiness lies somewhere out there. But the truth is that no distance will free you from yourself. The one person you cannot outrun is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Until you face that person with honesty, no escape will ever be enough. The way forward is not about adding more layers of distraction, but about peeling them away. It is the courage to sit with your wounds instead of denying them, to see your fears instead of masking them, to meet your own mind instead of running from it. When you do this, you will see that the peace you were chasing all along has always been here. The journey is not outward, but inward, and the moment you stop running, you begin to rise. Fear often appears like a wall standing in front of us, stopping us from moving forward. We resist it, fight it, or try to escape it, believing that fear is here to destroy us. But the truth is, fear does not block the path. It points to it. Whatever you fear most is usually the very place where your growth is waiting. If you avoid it, you stay limited. If you face it, you expand. Think of a child who is afraid to step into water. To the child, the water seems like a threat. But once he enters and learns to swim, the same water becomes freedom, even joy. The fear was never the enemy. It was only a signal of the unknown. In the same way, your fears are not here to paralyze you, but to show you where you have yet to awaken. If you look closely, fear only exists in your imagination. It is always about what may happen, not what is happening. In this moment, there is no danger, there is only life. But the mind creates shadows, and we start believing in them as reality. The way to dissolve fear is not to run from it, but to bring awareness to it. To watch it calmly, to see its roots, and to understand that fear survives only in unconsciousness. When you begin to see fear as a teacher, it transforms. Instead of asking, "How do I escape this fear?" you begin to ask, "What is this fear trying to show me?" Every fear reveals a part of yourself that you have not yet embraced. It may show you where you lack trust, where you cling too tightly, or where you are resisting growth. The moment you face fear directly, it loses its grip. What once seemed like a monster becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, you do not just see fear. You see yourself, waiting to be free. To rise beyond fear is not to kill it, but to understand it. And once you understand, fear is no longer an obstacle. It becomes the doorway to your own strength. Most people think discipline is a burden, a restriction, something that takes away their freedom. But look carefully. What we call freedom without discipline often becomes slavery to our impulses, desires, and distractions. If you cannot guide your own mind, if you cannot direct your own actions, then who is truly in control? Without discipline, life drags you in every direction, and you mistake chaos for freedom. Imagine a river with no boundaries, spilling in every direction. It loses its strength, becomes stagnant, and spreads into a swamp. But the same river, when given a clear path, flows with power, carving valleys, even moving mountains. Discipline is that boundary. It channels your energy, your focus, your time into a direction that gives life meaning. Without it, you scatter yourself with it. You become unstoppable. True discipline is not about punishment or force. It is about commitment to what truly matters. It is the ability to say, I will not allow every passing mood to decide my destiny. Discipline is freedom because it frees you from being a prisoner of your emotions. It is the art of choosing long-term clarity over short-term comfort. It is choosing what nourishes you over what merely entertains you. Ask yourself, what is heavier? To carry the small weight of daily discipline, or to carry the unbearable burden of regret? One path requires effort, yes, but it leads to strength and dignity. The other requires nothing in the moment, but slowly erodes your spirit, leaving you empty. Every choice you make is shaping whether your life becomes a masterpiece or a waste. Discipline is not the enemy of joy. It is the soil in which true joy grows. When you live with discipline, you are no longer at the mercy of your mind. You become the master of it. That mastery is the highest form of freedom. To rise in life, to transform yourself, there is no other way. Discipline is the doorway through which you walk into your own greatness. Responsibility is often misunderstood as a weight, something heavy to carry. But in truth, it is not a burden, it is power. The moment you say, I am responsible, you stop waiting for the world to change and begin to shape your own destiny. Without responsibility, you are at the mercy of circumstances. With responsibility, you hold the steering wheel of your life firmly in your hands. Think of a gardener. If he blames the weather, the soil, or the insects, the garden will never flourish. But if he takes full responsibility, choosing the right seeds, nurturing the soil, protecting the plants, life responds. In the same way, your mind, your body, your destiny is your garden. The more responsibility you take, the more it blossoms. Blame is easy. It relieves you of effort, but it also robs you of power. The moment you blame, you hand over the keys of your life to someone else. Responsibility is the act of reclaiming those keys. It is the courage to say, yes, the world is imperfect, but what I choose to create within me is still mine. Transformation does not happen when circumstances change. It happens when you change. And change begins the instant you stop pointing fingers and start looking within. Responsibility makes you the author of your life story instead of a victim trapped in someone else's script. Those who embrace responsibility rise because they no longer wait for someone else to rescue them. They realize that the rescue has always been within. Responsibility is not just a choice. It is the beginning of freedom, power, and transformation. Every struggle you face feels like a storm, and in the storm you may think life is against you. But struggle is not punishment. It is life's way of preparing you. A seed must crack in darkness before it reaches the light. The cracking feels like destruction, but without it, the seed would never become a tree. When you go through hardship, something within you is being strengthened, stretched, made capable of more. If life gave you only comfort, you would never discover your hidden strength. It is only in challenge that the iron of your spirit is forged into steel. Struggle is the training ground for greatness. Look back at your own life. The moments that shaped you most deeply were not the easy ones. They were the times when you had to fight through fear, endure uncertainty, or hold on when everything seemed lost. Pain leaves scars, yes, but those scars carry wisdom. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Each challenge carries a hidden lesson, a message about who you are becoming. The more you resist struggle, the heavier it feels. But when you embrace it as preparation, you realize you are not being broken, you are being built. Life never wastes suffering. It uses it as a tool to refine you, to polish you, to prepare you for the path ahead. What feels like an obstacle today is often the foundation of your strength tomorrow. Struggle is not here to crush you, it is here to reveal you. The world is loud, full of noise, distractions, and endless opinions. In this noise, it is easy to lose yourself. But clarity does not come from adding more information. It comes when the mind becomes still. Just as muddy water clears when left undisturbed, your inner vision clears when you allow stillness. When your mind is restless, even simple choices feel impossible. But in silence, what is essential becomes obvious. The noise fades and the truth rises. Stillness is not empty, it is full of answers that the restless mind cannot hear. People often chase clarity outside, through advice, books, or endless searching. These may guide you, but they cannot replace your own inner knowing. That knowing awakens only when you stop running from silence. Stillness is not escape from life. It is the beginning of seeing life as it is. Imagine standing in front of a lake at dawn. If the surface is stormy, you cannot see the depths. But when it becomes calm, every detail, even the reflection of the sky, becomes visible. Your mind is the same. A still mind reflects truth. A restless mind distorts it. Clarity is not something you create, it is something you uncover. And the key is not more thinking, but less. The quieter you become within, the clearer your path appears. Comfort feels safe, but it also keeps you small. Everything you dream of lies just outside the walls of your comfort zone. Growth is never comfortable because it demands that you stretch, that you step into the unknown. If you stay where you are, you remain who you are. If you dare to move beyond comfort, you transform. A bird is safe in its shell, but if it never breaks the shell, it will never fly. Comfort is that shell. It protects, but it also confines. To break it feels frightening, but it is the only way to discover freedom. Growth always requires discomfort. Whether it is learning a new skill, facing a fear, or letting go of an old habit. Discomfort is the sign that you are expanding beyond your limits. Instead of resisting it, welcome it as proof that you are alive, evolving, becoming more. Ask yourself, do you want comfort or do you want life? Because life, in its fullness, never comes to those who cling to safety. It comes to those who risk, who step beyond the familiar, who embrace uncertainty with courage. The end of comfort is the beginning of possibility. Every time you rise above it, you discover a larger version of yourself. And each step beyond the familiar opens doors you never imagined existed. The world praises achievements, wealth, and status. But outer success without inner strength is fragile. It can crumble in a moment. True power is not measured by what you own, but by what you can endure, what you can rise above, and what cannot be taken from you. Inner strength is the foundation that sustains everything else. A person with it can lose everything outside and still stand tall. A person without it may have everything outside, but inside they remain hollow. Success without inner strength is like a tree with shallow roots. It looks grand, but one storm can uproot it. You build inner strength not in times of ease, but in times of trial. Every challenge, every disappointment, every fall is an invitation to grow stronger within. Outer success depends on chance. Inner strength depends on choice. Think of mountains. They are immovable not because they resist storms, but because their foundation runs deep. When you cultivate strength inside, life's storms cannot shake you. You may bend, but you do not break. When inner strength guides you, success is no longer fragile. It becomes a natural expression of who you are. Outer success is uncertain, inner strength is eternal. Nurture what cannot be taken, and you will never truly fall. We are often taught that freedom means doing whatever we desire. But this kind of freedom quickly becomes a prison because desires are endless. The more you chase them, the more they multiply, and the more restless you become. True freedom is not being able to do everything. It is not being enslaved by the need to do anything. If your peace depends on fulfilling every want, then peace will always escape you. Life will never arrange itself perfectly to satisfy the endless demands of the mind. Freedom comes when you no longer need the world to bend to your will. Consider a person who controls the whole world but cannot control their own craving. They are still not free. On the other hand, a person with nothing but whose heart is content is freer than any king. Real freedom is not about adding, but subtracting. It is not about gaining more, but needing less. It is about being at ease whether the world gives or takes, whether life brings gain or loss. This freedom no one can grant you, and no one can take away. When wants no longer control you, you begin to taste true peace. That peace is freedom, the kind of freedom that cannot be broken by any force outside you. We like to believe that one day, when conditions are perfect, we will change. But that someday never comes. Life is not waiting, each moment is shaping you now. Transformation is not a distant event, it is a choice made in the present. Every time you delay, you reinforce the very chains you wish to break. Waiting for the right moment is the mind's way of escaping responsibility. The right moment is always now, because now is the only place where life truly exists. Change does not require a perfect plan, only a first step. And that step is always available. Each small act of courage, each moment of discipline, each choice to face rather than run is already transformation in motion. Think of fire. It does not wait. It burns the instant you ignite it. Transformation is the same. The moment you choose differently, the moment you stop running and face yourself, the spark is lit. Do not postpone your becoming. The future is only built from the present. Transformation is not a distant dream, it is the breath you are taking right now. Begin here, begin now, and you are already rising. Fear often feels like a barrier, something to fight or escape. But fear, if you look closely, is not here to destroy you. It is here to point you toward your greatest growth. Wherever fear exists, it reveals the edge of your comfort zone, the doorway into your expansion. The mistake people make is believing fear must disappear before they act. But fear never truly vanishes. It only shifts as you grow. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move despite it. Fear is the shadow that proves light is near. Think of the first time a child learns to walk. Fear of falling is present, yet the child moves anyway. Without that fear, there would be no awareness, no balance, no growth. In the same way, every fear you face sharpens you, awakens you, and demands that you rise higher. When you run from fear, it chases you endlessly. When you face it, you discover it is smaller than it appeared. The mountain of fear is often just a shadow in your mind, magnified by imagination. Let fear be your compass. It does not point to danger. It points to possibility. It shows you where your next transformation waits. Walk toward it, and you will discover strength you never knew was yours. From childhood, you are taught to measure yourself against others. Who is smarter, richer, stronger, more successful? But comparison is a trap. It blinds you to your own path and chains you to someone else's journey. Life did not bring you here to be a copy, it brought you to be you. When you compare, you are always left restless. If you are ahead, you fear losing. If you are behind, you feel inadequate. Either way, peace is stolen. But when you turn inward, the only question that matters is, am I becoming a fuller version of myself? A rose does not compete with a lotus. Each blooms in its own time, in its own way, and both are beautiful. You, too, are not here to outshine anyone. You are here to shine as only you can. Comparison reduces life to a race, but life is not a race, it is a journey. No one is ahead, no one is behind, because each path is unique. What matters is not how you measure against others, but how deeply you live your own truth. Freedom comes when you stop looking sideways and start looking inward. When you realize that the only person you need to surpass is the one you were yesterday, comparison dissolves and peace blossoms. We all carry wounds, memories of pain, betrayal, failure, or loss. The instinct is to fight them, hide them, or pretend they do not exist. But healing does not come from resistance. Healing begins with acceptance. To say, yes, this happened. Yes, it hurt. And yet, I choose to move forward. Acceptance is not weakness. It does not mean approving of what happened. It means refusing to let the past hold power over your present. When you resist, the wound festers. When you accept, the wound begins to close. Imagine a broken bone. If you deny it and keep walking, the pain deepens. But when you accept it is broken, you allow it to be set, to be cared for, to heal. Your inner wounds are no different. Acceptance is the doorway through which forgiveness and peace can enter. Without it, you remain locked in a prison of resentment. With it, you free yourself to live again. Healing is not about erasing the past. It is about transforming your relationship with it. When you accept, the pain becomes wisdom and the wound becomes strength. Everyone desires a better life, peace, success, freedom, fulfillment. But desire without discipline remains a dream. Discipline is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you long to be. Discipline is often seen as restriction, but in truth it is liberation. Without it, you are a prisoner of impulses and distractions. With it, you gain the power to direct your energy where it matters most. Consider water. When scattered, it seeps into the ground. But when channeled with discipline, it becomes a river strong enough to carve valleys and turn turbines. Your energy is the same. Discipline channels it into force. Every great achievement in history was born not of luck, but of steady discipline, small actions repeated daily with commitment. It is not the grand act that shapes destiny, but the consistent step. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom, it is its foundation. Without discipline, you live at the mercy of chaos. With it, you gain mastery of yourself, and mastery is the path to true fulfillment. Many live their lives focused on what they lack, and in doing so, they miss the richness already present. Gratitude is the shift that transforms survival into abundance. It is not about having everything, it is about seeing everything. Each breath is a gift, each sunrise a miracle, each moment an opportunity. But the mind overlooks them, always chasing more. Gratitude interrupts this chase and reminds you that life itself is enough. When you practice gratitude, even the simplest things, a smile, a meal, a kind word, become treasures. And when life feels heavy, gratitude becomes the anchor that steadies you. Gratitude does not mean denying pain or difficulty. It means refusing to let them blind you to the blessings still present. Even in the darkest night, stars remain. Gratitude teaches you to see them. Abundance is not measured in wealth, but in perspective. Gratitude opens your eyes to the richness already around you, and in that awareness, life transforms. So stop running. The more you escape, the heavier the chase becomes. Turn around. Look directly into the face of your fears, your wounds, your doubts. They are not here to destroy you. They are here to awaken you. And when you stop running, when you stand tall, when you embrace responsibility, you do not just survive, you rise.